Back to the deathmatch element for game of point 5. This is game 1 in the best of 3, and this time we have got FedEx up to the northwest of the map in the orange, playing as the Japanese, and his teammate in the red here, I almost forgot what color that was for a second, is Christ, playing as the Persians in the northeast. Man, Christ, I've not seen this guy play for a long while, but in fact, one of the very earliest videos that I ever put on my channel had a game where Christ was playing. Christ is a very well-known deathmatch player, not so known for his random map. I don't think Christ ever really plays random map, but he's quite a big name in deathmatch community, and this guy is going to be teaming up with the Z guys, the Argentinian guys, to play for them for the deathmatch sections of this tournament. Now, down to the south of the map, we've got in the blue Luke Myth. He's playing as the Persians, and my goodness me, he's already lost 2 villagers down here, which is a terrible start. He's only got 2 stables up so far. And although Christ only has 2 stables up, if we have a look over at FedEx, yeah, that's 4 barracks and 2 archery ranges already. So a comparable difference, and Christ already getting the upper hand against Myth already. Now on the southwest of the map in the teal, we've got Dark Devil, and he is playing as the Japanese in the teal. And these guys are not switching out any players. The That's Amore team keeping the same players that they have for the random map. Whereas obviously the ZZ team, the Dreamers, they have a dedicated deathmatch player. Yeah, dedicated deathmatch player, similar to the Dream Team deathmatch duo. And these guys are probably going to be doing very well this game. I hear more villagers dying, and my goodness me, Blue is struggling over here, losing 2 more villagers on this left-hand side. And although now he is getting those military production buildings up, I guarantee to you he is pop-blocked. He has 25 out of 25, and at the moment he cannot build any houses because his villagers are getting cut off very quickly as soon as they attempt it. So, Christ, 30 population versus the 25 of Luke Myth, and he is the Persians, which, you know, typically get off to a slower start anyway. On the left side, FedEx is dominating over here against Dark Devil. 65 population for FedEx versus the 25 of Dark Devil. And Dark Devil simply just not off to a great start on this left side. He has got a population headroom of 85, but he's outnumbered 3 to 1 at the moment in terms of overall population. And FedEx yet to even start any eco production because he is just super busy flooding the units forwards and taking down his military production buildings from Dark Devil. On the right side, Christ is still looking very good, and perhaps making Myth think that he might just have a shot at pushing back. But what he doesn't realize at this point in time is that Christ has got the Nellies on the way, and the Scorpions are coming out en masse. Lots of siege workshops and just 3 castles, which is interesting because the metagame for the Persians seems to be so far to add 6 castles right at the start. Now, Christ's going to add more castles in, of course, for map control. But on this right-hand side, Christ actually mixing it up with a lot of siege workshops and less castles, which is kind of interesting. Now, on this left side, yeah, FedEx is all over this. Dark Devil is down to 34 population, but he's about to lose that starting TC. All of these barracks are ablaze, and the thing I'm most surprised about here is that FedEx has not added in any siege just yet, but I'm impressed by FedEx's deathmatch play, and fair enough, his opponent hasn't quite been up to par, but FedEx looking really great on this left-hand side. Meanwhile, Luke Myth struggling now against this War Elephant and Scorpion combination that Christ is throwing at him. No castles up for the blue player at all, and that is a huge mistake. Adding in hand cannons is pretty much pointless at this point in time. The Halberdier unable to really do any damage, and seriously, this Elite War Elephant combo with the Heavy Scorpions is pretty much the ultimate for the good old Persians on this right side. So FedEx all over this. He's population blocked at the moment with 200 pop, and Dark Devil trying to get some of those onages out, but just unable to, and it's pretty much GG for him on this left side. Down to 45 population with those Cavalier at the back, but why is he making Cavalier against this army from Dark Devil? I will never know. Sorry, this army from FedEx, I will never know. He is getting swarmed by champions and Arbalest, and those Cavalier are just not going to be able to hold up against this army, I don't think. Meanwhile, on the right side, Christ is continuing to push in, and Christ now working on that eco, of course, because you really need that eco in the Persians war, because you have to make sure that you have plenty of wood and food income as you burn through it so quickly. Christ at the moment though, plenty of wood and food, so he's looking just fine. And there's the GG from Luke Myth. That's a 14 population. Dark Devil just not able to put up a fight either, and these guys, the Christ and FedEx team, all over it at the moment. And it's just difficult, you know, if you're not a insanely fast player and that you're not that familiar with deathmatch, it is difficult to play against someone like Christ and against someone like FedEx, who probably put a lot of time, a lot of practice into deathmatch for this tournament. I'm speaking about FedEx here mostly. Christ already known as a 2K plus deathmatch player, and that's that. G1 is done, and it was a GG pretty quickly from the That's Amore team, making it 1-0 to the Dreamers, and game number 2 will be coming straight your way right about now, and here it is. Game number 2, once again, now random civs, and down at the south we've got FedEx in the orange playing as the Byzantines, and his teammate off to the far east of the map is Christ in the blue playing as the Teutons. It is random, but it is random mirror. Byzantines plus Teutons, and up to the north of the map in the teal we've got Dark Devil playing as the Byzantines, and over to the left, Influenza this time, switching out and replacing Luke Myth in the green as the Teutons. So Influenza seems to have a little bit more know-how about deathmatch. Now, like I've said previously, the key in deathmatch is really making sure you build your buildings as tightly packed and defensively as possible at the start of the game to make sure that your opponent's scout doesn't do too much damage. FedEx here going to try and pick off a villager or two, but Influenza making sure they get into the TC in time and packing those buildings in very tightly to quickly and effectively get those buildings up as fast as possible. Stables coming up for Influenza, of course. He's going for Paladins, but that scout there, that Hussar, staying alive for way too long. But fortunately for Influenza, FedEx did not manage to kill any units right there. On the right side, Christ looking fine, but that scout from him, that single scout cavalry over there, managing to stay alive for quite some time. Seems like Dark Devil and Influenza off to a better start than their teammates in the last game, and FedEx so far just building a lot of camels up here because he's seen already that Influenza is going for that Paladin build, and he's obviously playing as the Byzantines, so the camel is an option, although they do lack bloodlines here, obviously not with 140 health, and they do lack that +2 attack as well. Sorry, the +4 attack that you can expect to see from these paladins. So Teutons versus Byzantines on each side. The Teuton player here, Christ, adding in a few Teutonic Knights, and of course they are going to be extremely tanky and extremely strong against the camels in this situation, as well as of course those paladins. Those Byzantine paladins not quite stacking up to the paladins of the Teutons. The Teutons arguably much stronger in this situation. The Teutons simply just have the stronger cavalry, they have the stronger melee, and I mean the only way really that the Byzantine player can do more here is if they add some serious siege, and that's kind of difficult against the Teutons as well, since the Teutons have some fantastic siege as well. I mean the Teutons are just a great late game civ, and those Teutonic Knights are going to do so much damage in the mix there. Of course, the Byzantines can easily counter Teutonic Knights with cataphracts, but we're not seeing a single castle up yet from Dark Devil, and those cataphracts, you know, probably even better for them than the paladins at this point in time. Cataphracts kind of have that double-edged sword. They can attack the Teutonic Knights and the halberdier and do great damage, but they also stack up just as well as their paladins do against the Teutonic paladins. So I think obviously in this situation cataphract would have been a great choice, and also cataphracts don't have an attack disadvantage against camels. So 2v1 at the moment in the north against Dark Devil. He is down to 27 pop as FedEx and Christ come in here with this huge heavy army and take down pretty much everything he has. Meanwhile in the south, Influenza and FedEx are having a fight, but of course those camels coming out on top there. I know they're only Byzantine camels, but they do pack a punch. Influenza adding in some champions to try and turn this one back around, but the damage is almost already done, so to speak, in Devil's base. Devil down to, like I say, 23 population now, and that siege is starting to come in from Christ, those siege onagers, those heavy scorpions, and Dark Devil's so out of this game. The ZZ team, the Dreamers team, have doubled the population now of the That's Amore team, and with FedEx falling back onto Arbalest, you can easily hold this left side and send a 2v1 attack into Dark Devil to completely finish him. Dark Devil starting to switch into some hand cannons. It's a good choice to counter the infantry, but against all of those paladins, it is going to be tough to counter this until he gets a serious amount of hand cannons out, and he's just not going to have that opportunity given this huge amount of pressure that Christ is pushing forwards with here. Influencer on the left, bringing some Teutonic Knights over, and some paladins as well, but grouping those paladins and Teutonic Knights together is a seriously big mistake. Look how slow those paladins are forced to move when they are grouped with the Teutonic Knights. When you group units up like that, they move at the pace of the slowest unit, and those paladins being very slow to reinforce. We got some serious siege, like I say, coming in from Christ as well, and Christ now population blocked at 200. FedEx not far behind with 182, and FedEx now sending his army up to the north as well to finish this off. Dark Devil still on 24 pop, Influenza on 127, whilst Christ and FedEx are population capped out, with trade already coming up, a team wall coming up on this left-hand side. Well, it was coming up until it got taken out, and eco coming up as well for both of these players. It's looking pretty conclusive at the moment for Christ and FedEx, and I would not be surprised if they go 2-0 here and take this. Of course, some siege onagers coming out for Influenza as well. He'd be mad not to, but let's be honest, the Elite Teutonic Knights, they can actually tank a siege onager shot here. The Paladins can tank it as well, and as such, those siege onagers getting taken down. And the painful thing here as well is that FedEx is stopping any reinforcements coming over from Influenza. Dark Devil, though, getting up now to 59 population. His population is coming up, but between them, they have less than half the population of FedEx and Christ combined. So it is very, very bad for these guys at the moment as Christ just steamrolls through here and sends everything he's got forwards. Byzantine cataphracts out for FedEx, but I'm not sure why he's sending them in here into these hand cannons. And this hand cannoneer army from Dark Devil is a fantastic idea. It's a good idea because they just pack so much firepower. Until they run into a siege onager, that is, and Christ sending those siege onagers that way already. A couple of siege onager shots will absolutely destroy that army, no question about it. And whilst they might be able to hold out against the Teutonic Knights and the Halberdier and even the occasional Paladin, the siege onagers might just end it for a Dark Devil. My goodness me, siege onagers just so goddamn good as they flatten that entire army. Dark Devil down to 27 population, and he's not even able to take out those onagers there as the hand cannons just get destroyed in a matter of seconds. That army from FedEx just being fed by Influenza by the looks of it. Influenza sending forwards some Teutonic Knights and some champions just getting destroyed by the Arbalest. The Teutonic Knights here much better against melee units than ranged units. Only 6 pierce armor versus the 13 melee armor that they have. And as such, it is GG from Influenza. Dark Devil down to 13 population and dropping. And that's the resign from Dark Devil and Influenza. Christ and FedEx taking that one 2-0, and that looked very easy for those guys. But I've got to say, with Christ and FedEx playing deathmatch here, Christ obviously damn good deathmatch player. FedEx, I've never really seen him play deathmatch before, but he's clearly very capable. These guys could go a long way with this deathmatch skill, and obviously the deathmatch element isn't the largest part of the tournament. It's only worth 1 out of 5 points in the group stage, but there will be more deathmatches later on in the tournament, and you know, it might be very possible, in fact probable, that the Dreamers deathmatch will face up against the Tyrant team's deathmatch, and we have a potential for an insanely good set of deathmatch games between two of the best teams out there. Dreamers, pretty damn good. They're probably not expected to finish in pole position, but they should be up there in the top 5 or top 6, I think, in this tournament. And obviously going 5-0 in their first set of games for the week 1 in the group stages. Very good for them, and they're going to be feeling pretty confident going into their next set of games as well. So congratulations to Dreamers. They're going to go through 5-0. Commiserations, I guess, to the That's Amore team, but they did provide us with some very fun games. Coccolino there just being hilarious and fantastic, and I hope they have at least some victories in the remainder